Right, I'm doing these videos for the people on the Courier Exchange because I get a lot of texts now saying thanks, and which is very nice, thank you, and tell me more. So,
go straight on for 10 minutes to junction 4.
I'm on my way to
I'm
I'm on my way to Croydon. Right, I've got to pick up some carpets and then move them around. So the long and short of it is, rather than race through them, which is what I'm trying to do at the moment, I'm going to try and break it down into small bite-sized chunks. So today's video is how much should you quote for a job on the Courier Exchange? The long and short of it is you take three factors into consideration. The first factor is distance, the second factor is time, and the third factor is amount of drops. Now in any one job, you're going to spend a lot of time when you get to the place, finding the place, getting to the customer, finding the guy who's in charge of the customer, finding the thing you've got to pick up. You might be lucky. In fairness, small van jobs are normally pretty good. You can walk in the counter, they'll go, it's that box. If it's a Luton job, you can get there, they can find it, they can go, it's on that pallet, stuck behind that pallet, it's going to take us half an hour to load it. So bear this in mind, because this is all time in your day. Time is money in this job. But if we start with distance, it depends on the size of your vehicle. Now, if you've only got a small van and you stick to, say, quoting 65 pence a mile, you shouldn't go too far wrong. If you've got a Luton van, you can quote 120 a mile. But that doesn't mean that in a Luton van you can't do a small van job. So say, for example, you was in St Albans and you was on your way home and a job came up, small van going St Albans to Milton Keynes, and you live in Milton Keynes, you can ring them up, you can go, I did a job for 20 quid. You'd probably be underpriced. I think with a small van job, you want to quote at least 30, 35, because there's a time factor. On a bigger van job, you're going to be looking at quote at least 40, 50, on a Luton, maybe at least £60. Because now, if you think about it, man and van for an hour in a Luton is at least £25, and you're going to be on that job for 2 hours. Even the smallest job in the world, you're going to be on it for 2 hours. So if you think along those lines, for a small van job, quote a minimum of 30, for a medium van job, quote a minimum of 50, for a bigger van job, 60, 65, on the Luton, an extra large tail lift, then take into account your miles. Now if it's a big mile job, it's easy. If it's, say, London to York, 220 miles, small van, you'd quote that at 65p a mile, so that's 140 quid. In a Luton, you could quote that 120 a mile, you'd get 240, 250. But bear in mind, when you're doing a big job like York, you might get there and then you might have got a job home. So you're only running at, see, if you're doing quoting 120 a mile in a big van, it's costing you probably, with the diesel and the running cost, 30p a mile to run. And if you run back empty, you're making 30p a mile. So you might be better off just going, well, I'll just do a short job locally, get 65 quid, and then, do no diesel, no wear and tear on the motor. So long and the short of it is, so there's your time factor, put your base level in, there's your mileage factor, and the third one is drops. Now, if you're lucky, I get good jobs sometimes. I get multi-drop jobs. In a little van, you can maybe quote them £20 a drop. In a bigger van, you can get as much as £40 a drop rather. Now, these can be very lucrative jobs. So if you could, say, get in there in a Luton, you could pick up 5 pallets, and if they've all got to be dropped locally, maybe within like 4 or 5 miles of each other, say half an hour a drop, you could do that job in 2.5 hours, but a £40 a pallet, it's 240 quid. You could go back in if they got more and get some more. So what I would say to you is, in a small van, look at £20 a drop, medium van £30 a drop, large van £40 a drop. On the time factor, on a small van, start at £30, medium van 40, 50, medium van 40, long wheelbase 40, up to 50, 60 for a Luton, and miles, I would look to be charging 65p a mile on a small van, up to, say, 120 a mile on a big van. There is one other factor to bear in mind, which is if it's like a long job, a lot of the time they're going to go for backloads. So it's, you think, oh, York, I'll quote that big money, I make big money. You won't, because there'll be someone in a lorry who's going that way anyway, and they'll turn around and go, I'm going home, I'll do it for nothing. And also, if you really want the job, say for example, it's like 2 o'clock and you're in Norwich and you live in Milton Keynes, and a job comes up, Norwich to Milton Keynes, you might want to give them it cheap. You might go, well look, I'll give them it 50p a mile because I'm going that way anyway. If I go home empty, I don't get my miles. If I give them 50p a mile, at least I cover my diesel and I get a drink at the end of the day. It's not an exact science, guys. It's you get a feel for it after a while. But you know, just go out there and do it, and you'll get there. And then, like I say, if you're on Exchange for a little while, eventually people will start ringing you, and when they ring you, they tend to go, "The job's worth this." You get more that way. But I hope these are helping. Here's another one. I will do some more as soon as I can get some more organised. In the meantime, let's go pick up some carpets. Today's report from Pete, the courier driver, the man on the M3. Literally.